Hi, John Dwyer here again, and welcome to the WOW Manifesto Client Attraction Program, module number 4. And hopefully you found the first 3 modules to be of great benefit, and I think you're going to find the same with this. This is all about getting emotional. Let me just bring the slide up on the screen so that I can tell you what module 4 is. It's exactly that, getting emotional. I think I've been emotional maybe once or twice in my life when my football team lost the grand final, and I'm not sure what the other occasion. I'm joking, okay? This has nothing to do with that sort of emotion. This has got to do with emotional direct response marketing. And what I want to highlight to you before we get into the components of emotional direct response marketing, because I'm going to give them to you here step by step, is the fact that we buy just about everything on emotion. And I know that it's an age-old theory that, you know, people buy their homes on emotion. So real estate agents rub their hands together when they see some facial reactions from, you know, potential buyers. They think, well, we've got this one because, you know, the wife falls in love with the kitchen, or the husband falls in love with the garage, or whatever it may be. And yes, of course, there's a lot of truth to that. I'm sure that most people buy a home on emotion. Might be a bit different with investment properties. I think they might put some metrics against that decision. But when you buy a home, yes, you fall in love with the block of land, or the mountain range behind it, or the kitchen, or whatever it may be. It's not just real estate. It's just about everything that we buy in life, we buy on emotion. Logic comes second. So whether it's an ice cream, or whether it's a sports jacket, or whether it's a bicycle, or a new car, or whether it's exercise gym equipment, it could be anything. Doesn't matter what, a chocolate bar, we buy it on emotion first and logic second. Sometimes logic doesn't even come second, okay? So therefore, wouldn't it make sense that as a business owner or business, chief executive, that you should learn the tactics of emotional direct response marketing? Because if you know how to speak to people and communicate your messages in a way that would capture their emotion, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get them as a strong prospect. And it's called emotional direct response marketing. And what I want to do now is take you through the steps in emotional direct marketing. Okay, the first step is obviously use that tactic, but the first step is identify their problem. Okay, so whoever your prospect is, he or she, then identify what their problem is. Number 2, you need to aggravate that problem. Number 3, you need to provide them with the solution. Number 4, you need to provide proof. And number 5, you have to have a call to action. So let's just go through that for a weight loss program. Let's say it's Jenny Craig weight loss program. If you were going to provide a problem, you would probably show a graphic of someone who was perhaps overweight and not feeling really good about themselves. So you might say, together with that graphic, whether it's online or whether it's a TV commercial or whether it happens to be a magazine or newspaper advertisement, are you feeling a little overweight and not particularly healthy at the moment? And we can understand that if that's the case, you're probably feeling a little depressed, okay, or a little bit anxious about that. And then number 2, which is this one here, you'd aggravate the problem by saying, well, you know what, summer is just around the corner. Don't you want to look good in that swimsuit? Number 3, you would give the solution. Pretty simple. Join the Jenny Craig weight loss program today, and there's a good chance you can lose X pounds or X kilos like so many other people in just 4 weeks. Number 4, provide proof. And that's the before and after story. So therefore you would see someone who perhaps was overweight and not feeling really good before they entered the dietary program. And then 4 weeks or 6 or 8 weeks later, guess what? They've lost all of this weight and they're really happy. So they're going to give you a fantastic before and after story. So that's all about providing proof. And number 5, call to action. Well, just tell them to go to jennycraig.com or to ring a particular phone number. It's really, really simple when you know how. And if you're not using emotional direct response marketing to promote your products or services at the moment, then please start doing it. The Greater Building Society, which I've mentioned in 1 or 2 of the previous modules, and the reason I do bring them up is because they were an ideal client. Pretty much whatever I said to them or recommended to them, they just did. I had a pretty good hit rate with them, and so therefore they just said, tell us what to do, we'll put the money behind it. Consequently, we were able to get Jerry Seinfeld to do their advertising in the last few years that I was involved with them. So therefore, they even went to that extent when I said, look, why don't we get a celebrity spokesperson who's down to earth, he's a family guy, he's just well regarded by just about every demographic. Let's get Jerry Seinfeld to be our spokesman. They said yes. Now, Jerry charged a few dollars, but they just said yes. And so Jerry Seinfeld became the spokesman. But not before we had gone down the path of this, emotional direct response marketing. because you might recall, if you've been, sort of watching my other webinars, my other videos with this program, modules, you might recall, I think in the last one, I mentioned the get a home loan, get a free holiday concept. And so therefore I told the building society, the Greater, to get rid of its honeymoon rate, which was a 1% discount on home loans, and actually replace that with something that would be cost neutral. Just use that same amount of money that you would have discounted and put that into a free vacation. And when they did that, it just went nuts. And let me tell you how they did that. Now you can actually go into the blueprint, okay, and have a look at all of this. If you go back to the How to Create a Wow Factor blueprint, you'll see the Greater Building Society case study in there. But effectively what we did is that we came on TV and we came online and various other communications and said, if you've got a problem, if you've got your home loan with one of those nasty banks who charge you lots of fees. Now the reason we could say that is because a building society and credit union, at least at that time, were not charging fees for just about every single transaction at the bank. So therefore this building society was very different from the big banks in Australia because they weren't charging fees. So what do you think I'm going to zero in on? That problem. So therefore the advertisements, let's just say the TV advertisement, it would have a pretty unhappy couple at the dinner table, maybe got the laptop in front of them looking at their bank fees, and we would say, have you got your home loan with the bank and you're sick and tired of paying all those fees? And guess what? The bank treats you like a number. They don't even know your name. They don't care about you. Have they ever given you any bonuses? Well, of course the answer is no, they've done none of that. Well, guess what? That's not going to change. So we aggravated the problem by saying banks have got shareholders and those shareholders are demanding profits. Now, I'm not saying that we went through it specifically like this, otherwise we would bore people, to death. But this was the inference that we'd put in every ad. So guess what? We're going to aggravate that problem about fees and charges. They ain't going to stop because the banks have got shareholders who demand profits. Whereas at the building society, it's a mutual whereby it's for the people, by the people. Okay, we don't charge any of those things because we give back to our members. Number 3, swap your home loan to the Greater, so get away from those nasty banks. We can make it really easy, just fill in 1 or 2 forms, okay? Swap your home loan to the Greater and you're off to Hawaii or Tahiti or Fiji for a free holiday on us. What have you got to think about? You get better service, we know your name, we treat you really, really fairly, we don't charge any of those fees, and guess what? You're going to go to Hawaii. Do you think anyone could say no? If they were pissed off with their bank, if they've just got some bad service from the bank and they're recognising when we go through all this that they've got some big problems, why would they not swap? Well, exactly, that's what happened. Because if we put these ads on television of a night time, the next morning at 9 o'clock, the switchboard was jammed with people saying, I'm pissed off with my bank, I want to swap to the Greater Building Society. It's so easy when you know how. Now, number 4, you provide proof. And that would be Mr. and Mrs. Smith looking down the barrel of the camera going, you know what? Gloria and myself, we used to have our home loan with one of those nasty banks that charged us fees and they didn't know our name and we never got anything from them. We swapped to the Greater. Not only do we not pay fees, they treat us much better. They know our names. We've got a very friendly manager and we went to Hawaii for free. Like, it's just an endorsement from heaven. And then, of course, call to action. Well, the call to action is go to greater.com, okay, or ring 131386. It was instantaneous. The moment that we put that on the television screen or we bought, spaces on the appropriate online portals, the switchboard just lit up, absolutely instant. Our next module is, very, very good. I've just looked at my notes and it is all about fixing your website. Now, we've called it Be Outrageously Different Online, but that was when I was in a good mood. Okay, normally I'm a bit cheeky, sarcastic, and go out of my way to hurt your feelings. And I'll do that right now so that I can beef up you know how at the end of an episode of a TV show they go, coming up in next week? Well, coming up in next week, I'm going to be very critical of your website. Most of the websites that I've seen from all sorts of businesses have an absolute disgusting, awful homepage where it may look pretty, but it will never sell anything. And they've created what I call an information-based website, not a sales-driven website. You want a website that's a 24/7 sales manager for you, not one that just pumps out information. And there's a whole bunch of content that you need on your homepage, which of course is your most important page of your website. That's the one that keeps them sticky or not. It either makes or breaks your website as the homepage. You need a whole bunch of stuff on there to keep them there. So really, really you should make sure that you don't miss this next module, and it's all about fixing your website. So look forward to seeing you in the next module. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one.